Welcome back to the channel, you guys. Today we are going to be finally doing a complete engine assembly on the turbo build motor. So we have everything getting prepped. It's going to be powder coated, and then it'll finally be assembled, and we will be able to see the engine completely put back together and ready to go back in the car. We're not going to be quite ready to throw it back in yet because of a couple of additional things that we're doing in the bay that is going to be for future videos. I'm actually not showing you guys some of the stuff that's going on right here on the front side of the car for that fact. I'm working on a couple of those things. I've got a couple different videos in the works right now, so I want to be able to show you guys kind of one piece at a time. But today's video, like I mentioned, is going to be finally assembling the complete engine setup for the car. You guys enjoy the video. So everything's kind of laid out on the floor right now, but the past couple of days I had scrubbed everything with some degreaser and actually soaked it in this bucket with a degreaser water mix. Came back, sprayed everything off, got as much of the grease off as I could, and then I soaked the parts that had any rust in them in this bucket with this Evapo rust, and it just cleaned up the parts so nice. We are going to be powder coating all of this stuff aside from the front of the alternator. I just wanted to clean that up some. Everything else will be powder coated, and it is all pretty clean down. I'm going to do a little bit more scrubbing with the wire brush and then wiping it down with some alcohol before it gets powder coated. I've actually already powder coated a couple of the pieces. They're currently over here in the oven, so as soon as those comes out, I'll show them to you guys. But this stuff is all going to be black, and I'm actually going to be doing a different color that I want to keep a surprise for just now for the valve cover. So I will get back to you guys here in just a minute when I'm pulling these parts out of the oven. Just got this first batch of stuff done and cooled back down. This is the timing cover, and these are the engine mounts, the crank pulley, as well as the little fan for the alternator. Now, these things are all powder coated. This is Prismatic Powder Stone Black and is cooled down. I've got the next batch of stuff all hanging on the rack in here and powder coating in the bathroom right now. It's the only area we really have ventilation. It's been raining today, so the humidity's been way too high to be able to go outside to do it. But we have this stuff set up. As soon as I powder coat this, it'll be thrown right in the oven, let it cure in there. It only takes 10 minutes at 400 degrees, so not bad at all. And then let it cool down once it comes out, and everything that I'm doing black will be powder coated and ready to start being put on the motor. These are the last parts. Just came out of the oven a few minutes ago. They turned out all right. Some of them weren't great. I should have sandblasted some of these parts beforehand to be able to help it adhere a little bit better. You can see the back side of this is not super great, but these are pretty much completely covered. So I'm going to put them on the motor, see what they look like. If they're too bad, I may redo them or paint over some of it just to kind of touch it up. The most important pieces are like the thermostat cover, this bracket you can see the top of out of the car, this pulley you can see, and then the thermostat will be good too. So the other stuff I just wanted to make look a little bit better than it did, but everything should be good with this, and I will show you guys this stuff going on the motor. So in just that last clip, you guys got to see the parts that I was powder coating black were taken care of. I did end up, and I didn't show you guys, I did end up going through and doing a second coat on some of these pieces. There were a couple little areas around inside of these corners that didn't get coated properly, And I know this piece, I think I pointed out to you guys that there was just some imperfections on it. I wasn't super happy with it, and even though that stuff is going to be really difficult to see, I so much rather would have just gone back through, lay down a second coat of powder, bake it one more time. It's a quick process to be able to take care of, to make sure that it is done right and to make sure that it lasts for a long time. But that actually was just a couple days ago that I took care of that stuff. Today, I finally got the turbo and the valve cover powder coated. I have been so excited to be able to show you guys this color. It has been kind of a hard decision for me to make what exactly I wanted to do, but this is a color that I have loved. I have just really wanted to be able to put on a car somewhere, and I figured that this would be a perfect time to be able to break out British Racing Green. I am so stoked seeing this color. The turnout of this was awesome. I honestly, with not powder coating, with not ever doing anything British Racing Green before, and again, with just kind of seeing the pictures of the color online, I had no clue how it was going to turn out. The powder came in and it looked super dark. I was really, really worried that it was going to be really dark and you couldn't really see the green that well in it. And I actually did the first coat of powder of the green, and it looked a little bit dull still, so I went ahead, hit it with a second coat, baked it just a little bit longer to let that color kind of flow out, and the green came out so much stronger after that. I am thrilled to be able to see this done, have that all just finished, and finally able to start to see the engine coming together. With this being done, I will probably start getting all the rest of the engine assembly completed. The thermostat and all the covers, everything that has not been put back on the engine so far should be pretty much ready to go back on. I will not be doing the oil pan right now because I still have to get a turbo drain welded on over here, and I actually don't know how to weld aluminum at all, so I will be bringing this to a friend of mine that does and letting him weld that drain bung on so that I don't have any kind of concerns of it leaking. But until then, we're gonna be able to at least get the rest of the engine assembly completed, and you guys will be able to see this thing with all of the new powder coated bits on it, and I am so ready to see this thing starting to come together. Now that the bay is painted, the engine parts are powder coated, everything is finally starting to look how I've been wanting it to since the beginning of this project. And I kind of was guessing with some of these colors to see how it turned out and just really hoping that I liked the final look of it. And I definitely think that we made the right decision in doing it like this. So let's get right into the rest of this engine assembly. Everything is laid out on my workbench now. It's all ready to be assembled, put on the engine. So we are going to get all of the rest of these parts put on. I'm going to set up a time lapse to show you guys. I do still have to find some torque specs on a few things that have gaskets and stuff, especially like the thermostat. I do plan on putting the housing on, torquing it properly. So a few of those things will need to be torqued, but a lot of this other stuff, engine parts, some of these brackets and stuff, I know there's torque specs for them, but that stuff doesn't all get torqued. In all reality, there's not a huge reason, in my opinion, to do it. As long as they're tight, they should be good. But I am going to start putting this stuff together, so let's get right to it. Okay guys, I stopped the time lapse before everything was completely done because I actually ran into a little bit of an issue trying to figure out how I was supposed to attach the power steering pump. There are a lot of different brackets and things on that, and I did not have another one to reference, so I had to kind of look into it a little bit, try to figure out what exactly needed to be done. But everything else is on the motor now other than the AC compressor, but I've got a bracket and the compressor itself I need to still clean up some more. So everything's there. I do have a cover over this because I'm not using the stock cap and rotor anymore. I've got a faceplate and that has not been powder coated yet, so I will be waiting to install that until after it's powder coated. You also can see this joint right here. It usually uses a bracket, this one right here. It usually uses this bracket, fits on, and then there's a little adjustment bolt that goes through here, but you can see it's kind of worn out right there. The teeth were stripped out some, and I always had a hard time trying to get it to actually tension properly. So instead of using that, I ordered one of these, still bolted on just how it needed to, works, and then I'm able to actually turn it and it's threaded to be able to adjust my alternator, and I got a lot better tension out of that now. So that is all taken care of. The next thing that I'm gonna do is put the valve cover gasket on, torque all of the nuts for this, and replace all the spark plugs. But I want to give you guys a little bit of an update after the engine mounts and the accessory drive system was all installed. What is going on, you guys? We are finally just about finished up with the engine assembly. However, I started putting the intake manifold back on after cleaning it and really just was not happy with the look of it. It's clean, but it's not super great. It's just a little bit worn. It's old. So I went ahead and ordered some more powder coat. This is BMW Silver, and we are going to spray that on this morning. I've got all of the openings taped off so that we don't get any on any of the gasketed surfaces or inside of the injector ports. But we are going to spray this, go ahead and bake it, and I will show it to you guys once it's out of the oven. Then we're going to go ahead and throw it on the engine, and we will finally be wrapping up the engine assembly portion of this build. As you guys can probably see, that was a little bit more difficult than I was hoping for it to be. And the reason for that is it was actually a little bit windy outside, and the wind was not bad. There wasn't very much. However, apparently whenever you're doing powder and you try going outside, it is so fine and it's so light, any little tiny bit of wind, and it just gets blown all over the place. So I was trying to powder coat it outside so that I didn't make inside of the shop a mess, since we don't really have a setup with a fan and filter and everything in here for it. And it did blow all over the place. But I do think I got everything coated well enough that we'll only need to do one coat. I did lay it on pretty thick. It is currently in the oven. This powder also only takes 10 minutes at 400 degrees Fahrenheit, but it does say you need to wait until the part is up to 400 degrees to start that 10-minute timer. So I've got about 20 minutes or so set right now for it to be in there. And hopefully in that 20 minutes, everything will be fully cured. I'll be able to pull it out and we'll be able to see what it looks like. I went ahead, got this baked, and then I'd set it on the engine. I really wanted to be able to show you guys it all put together. This intake looks so much better. It looks like the cast kind of aluminum color and look, which is exactly what I was going for. I wanted to keep it kind of OEM like on that portion of it and kind of a lot of the engine. I want to be able to add some customization and change it up, but I still really like that OEM plus kind of look. So being able to kind of add in a silver intake manifold kind of keeps it a little bit more original looking, in my opinion anyway. But everything is put back together. Still don't have the fuel rail on here yet, and I have not torqued down the intake manifold because I actually had one of the paper gaskets for it tear, so I'm going to be having to order a new one of those. However, I wanted to still be able to show you guys what this looks like with the intake on. And this will probably be the end of this video. I will get back to you guys in the next one. I've actually got a couple of videos lined up with some different project stuff going on, all related to this car. Once I get a little bit more stuff done with the engine bay, we will finally be able to start reassembling the bay completely and putting everything back in. And that is when you guys will see the turbo kit assembly. We are going to be doing some Cerakoting and stuff on the header and collector up to the turbo. So I want to be able to get that done before that all goes onto the engine. However, we are not too far away from being able to start putting this thing back into the car. If you guys enjoy the content, make sure to subscribe, like the video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace out.